Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. If you keep blowing it up, I'll be truly invincible. Chapter 51. Tian Yan Shenju. Su Chen murmured with a strange expression. The name should be a cultivation technique, but I don't know what level of supernatural power it is. Yi Rushui, who was standing at the entrance of the Great Hall, opened her mouth, wanting to explain this cultivation technique to Su Chen. After all, in her previous life, she had cultivated the Tianyan divine art to the extreme. But after hesitating for a moment, she swallowed back the words on her lips. His actions today have exposed many secrets. If it continues to be exposed, I am afraid that the secret of my own rebirth will not be concealed. Heavenly rank top grade, and it's also the supernatural power of practicing divine sense. It's really worthy of the saint's opportunity. While looking at Jade's slip, Su Chen sighed. The only pity is that this is a cultivation technique for practicing divine sense. Miss Yi, would you like to see Jade's slip? Su Chen closed the jade slip, looked up at Yi Rushui with a smile, and said. Thank you Mr. Su for your kindness, but I am only a qi gathering 9th stage now, this cultivation technique may not be useful to me. Yi Rushui glanced at the jade slip in Su Chen's hand, and shook her head slightly. Oh, is it so? Su Chen took a deep look at Yi Rushui, and did not continue to persuade her. I see that Mr. Su practiced a lot of martial skills today, and these spiritual milks are very suitable for Mr. Su. Then Rushui will not disturb Mr. Su's cultivation. Yi Rushui looked at Su Chen with a smile and said. After the voice fell, he turned and walked outside the Great Hall. When she came outside the Great Hall, she found a random place, threw a few spirit stones with her hands, and arranged a very simple formation. Afterwards, she opened the jade box, took out the Daoshuan gold core inside, swallowed it and quickly entered the cultivation process. In the Great Hall, Su Chen put away the Tianyan Shenju. He has no plans to practice this cultivation technique yet. For one thing, the grade of Tianyan Shenju is too high to be grasped by a cultivator of the Qi Si realm's 2nd stage. If you want to practice, you must at least cultivate to the level of the altar, and then slowly comprehend after opening the divine sense. If you want to refine it to great completion, or even return to origin, you must at least be in the divine Si realm, or even above the divine harmony realm. Secondly, he currently has too many martial skills in his hands, and the broken star sword art is only a small achievement. Compared with Tianyan Shenju, the few martial skills learned from the mysterious stone tablet are undoubtedly easier to practice, and the benefits can be maximized in a short period of time. It just depends on how the ground spiritual milk works. Su Chen took a deep breath, slowly took off his clothes, and stepped into the stone bucket filled with spiritual milk. The moment he stepped in, Su Chen's complexion changed suddenly. He felt as if there were thousands of ants crawling on On's body, nibbling at his skin all the time. This process was extremely painful, and Su Chen didn't dare to be careless, so he quickly calmed down and began to operate the broken star sword art. With the operation of the broken star sword art, a thin layer of starlight overflowed from his body surface. At this moment, his entire understanding of the broken star sword art has also reached an unprecedented level. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. In the void of the outside world, the 3 Taoist shadows stood shoulder to shoulder, looking down. These 3 people are none other than the 3 enshrined elders from the Lin family. They have been flying southeast for several days, and this place is thousands of miles away from Qingyang City. But there was no trace of Su Chen and Yi Rushui. This had to make the 3 of them wonder, did they find the wrong place? Wan Gongfang, do you think there is a possibility that Su Chen and Yi Rushui turned a corner halfway and went to other places? A thin old man looked down and pondered for a moment, then said slowly. If they really turned a corner, then the 3 of them, let alone looking for thousands of miles, even if they flew tens of thousands of miles forward, they would still not be able to find it. That's right. Could it be that farmer's nonsense? Another old man in a white robe nodded in agreement and echoed. That Yi Rushui is just a qi gathering realm 9th stage. Although Su Chen is a bit stronger, she is just a qi si realm cultivator. Yi Rushui's cultivation base is simply not enough to support her flight, and Su Chen is just an ordinary qi si realm cultivator. How could it be possible to be faster than us with one person? If they were really flying in this direction, we would have caught up with them long ago. Wang Gongfeng pondered for a moment when he heard the words, and said helplessly. Then go another 500 miles. If we still can't find it, let's go back. He also knows, if you continue to search aimlessly like this, there is no way at all. Without any means of tracking, it is extremely difficult to find two people in the huge world. The three of them continued on for another 500 miles, but still found nothing. Seeing this, Wang Gongfeng waved his hand, signaling the two to stop, standing in the void, looking at the earth below, and sighed helplessly. It seemed that they were going to return empty-handed this trip. Just when he was about to return, the thin old man suddenly let out a sigh. Ha! Wang Gongfeng's heart moved. He quickly looked at the old man, and asked curiously. Yang Gongfeng, did you find anything? Yang Gongfeng said with a strange expression. Oh, don't tell me, I really found something unusual. If nothing else happens, it should be a secret realm. Ha! Secret realm, where is the secret realm? The eyes of Wang Gongfu and the priest in white robes lit up when they heard the words, and they asked at the same time. Things like secret realm are very attractive to them. Because every secret realm contains countless good treasures. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as you can master one secret realm, you can easily establish a power that surpasses the Lin family. I'm not sure if it's a secret realm. But it's over there, I'll take you there to have a look. Yang Gongfeng raised his hand and pointed to the void not far away. The voice fell. He flew towards the void in a flash. Wang Gongfeng and the priest in white robe looked at each other, and followed closely behind Yang Gongfeng. Soon, the two of them came to a wasteland under the leadership of Yang Gongsheng. A 10-foot-high crack stood in the void, which was particularly eye-catching. Hiss! The moment the three of them saw the crack, they all gasped. The three of them looked at each other, and at the same time saw the color of fanaticism in each other's eyes. Secret realm. It's really a secret realm. Although this secret realm looks from the outside, the inside appears to be completely dilapidated. But none of this matters. They can detect the rich spiritual qi overflowing from inside the secret realm. The spiritual qi inside has been so strong that it is terrifying. They have never heard of it before. Even if there is nothing in this secret realm, just relying on such a strong spiritual qi inside is enough to be called a paradise. 1 year of cultivation inside may only be worth 3 to 5 years outside. I didn't expect the three of us to have a good day. An unknown secret realm was discovered by us so easily. The old man in white robe beside Wang Gongfeng said with a face full of surprise. Yang Gongfeng was also full of joy, looking at the entrance in front of him, his Adam's apple rolled. Only Wang Gongfeng stared at the crack with suspicious eyes, and said, Do you think Su Chen and Yi Rushui are in there? Shouldn't it be possible? The old man in white robe said hesitantly. In their view, Su Chen breaking the sky is only Qi Si Realm 3/4 stage days. Although the strength is not weak, it is only limited to not weak. Compared with the three of them, there is still a big gap. And it is more than 1,000 miles away from Qingyang City. In their eyes, it is impossible to fly here with Su Chen's cultivation base. I'm just saying it casually. We'll find out if it's inside or not. Wang Gongfeng walked towards the entrance of the crack, and while walking, he exhorted. Since this secret realm has been opened, it means there must be someone inside. We'd better be careful not to be cut inside. Good. Yang Gongfeng and the old man in white robe looked at each other when they heard the words, and nodded. Soon, the three entered the secret realm. The first time they came in, the three of them saw the mountain not far away. After all, apart from that solitary mountain peak, there is really nothing else eye-catching in the entire secret realm. The three looked at each other and walked forward cautiously. Originally, they could arrive in a few minutes, but it took them a whole stick of incense to reach the foot of the mountain. The three started climbing side by side and soon reached the top of the mountain. But the moment they reached the top of the mountain, the expressions of the three of them suddenly changed. All I saw was a woman in a white robe sitting cross-legged in front of the palace. The woman in white seemed unaware of the arrival of the three of them, and was still immersed in her cultivation. Yi Rushui, the old man in white robe spoke first. Although Yi Rushui seldom showed up outside, but as the enshrined elder of the Lin family, they had seen Yi Rushui's portrait. Otherwise, they would not have come out to hunt down Su Chen and Yi Rushui. Then Su Chen should be in the Great Hall, and the two are separated at this moment, which happens to be an opportunity. Wan Gongfeng turned his head and winked at Yang Gongfeng, who was beside him. The latter immediately understood, stretched out his palm, and a brilliance appeared in his palm. The brilliance dissipated, and a black rope emerged in his hand, wrapped with a killing intent so strong that it was almost substantial. This is a spirit rope. Once entangled by it, even a strong person at the altar level has to submit obediently. Meanwhile, in the Great Hall, as soon as Su Chen opened his eyes, two divine lights flashed in his eyes, which were extremely clear. He glanced at the stone bucket, and found that the originally milky white ground spiritual milk in the stone bucket had completely turned into clear water at this moment. Absorbing a large amount of earth spirit milk directly made his strength reach a terrifying level. The broken star sword art directly returned to origin with a leap, and the divine walking has also been greatly improved, only one step away from great completion. The other martial skills are also all initiation. If we fight those two puppets now, we will be able to solve them within 3 moves. Su Chen stood up slowly, with black hair hanging down his shoulders like a waterfall. His body shone with white light, like a piece of beautiful jade, white and flawless. Crack! Su Chen's palm fell gently. The originally indestructible stone barrel was easily crushed by him like tofu. As expected of heavenly and mortal treasures with price but no market, even my cultivation base also break through Qi Si Realm 3rd stage. Su Chen said with some emotion. The main function of the earth spiritual milk is to assist in the cultivation of martial skill and supernatural power. But it's not only for assisting in the cultivation of martial skill and supernatural power, it also has a certain increase for cultivation base. It's just that it is slightly less effective than the auxiliary training martial skill and supernatural power. Su Chen stepped out of the stone barrel, put on his clothes, and was about to go out to see how Yi Rushui was practicing. But when he just walked to the door of the Great Hall, his eyes were fixed. Impressively, I saw 3 Taoist figures walking towards the Great Hall. One of them was holding a black rope in his hand, and was quietly approaching Yi Rushui. Court death. Su Chen gave a soft drink, and the long sword instantly appeared in his palm. The terrifying sword intent made the entire Great Hall tremble. This is the first sword released after returning to origin, so the sword intent is extremely terrifying. The long sword was thrown by Su Chen. The sharp edge of the sword seemed to be able to shatter everything, making gusts of wind and thunder like a dragon, and emitting a monstrous starlight. It's not right. It's 12 points wrong. Wan Gongfeng and the 3 looked at the black rope gradually approaching Yi Rushui in the high sky. It was about to tie him up, but at this moment, a terrifying sword intent erupted from the Great Hall. Boom! There was a loud noise from the sky, and the void seemed to be shattered at this moment. Immediately afterwards, a flickering long sword collided with the black rope, bursting out with bright light. In the brilliance of the sky, the long sword pierced the sky, and with an ear-piercing howling sound, it quickly killed towards the end of the black rope. Wan Gongbong, save me! The old man in white robe holding the other end of the rope only had time to let out a loud cry. Before he finished speaking, the whole person completely lost his vitality. PFF'd. The long sword passed through the body, and the huge impact carried the old man's body, flying backwards for hundreds of meters. Boom! A loud noise sounded. The long sword nailed the old man in white robe to a towering withered tree. Blood was flowing, and the hilt of the sword trembled slightly. The weird picture made the other 2 feel their scalps tingling and shudder. The old man who was still alive just now was nailed to the big tree in just a blink of an eye. To know, the old man in white robe is the strongest in Qi Si Realm 8th stage. In the face of this sword, there is no power to resist it. Of course, the white-robed old man was careless in this, and there was no element of dodge, but at the same time, the opponent's strength can be seen, and it must not be underestimated. A member of the Lin family. Cold voices rang in the ears of the 2 of them. The voice just fell. A slender figure appeared in front of the 2 of them. No one saw how he appeared, as if he was standing there. The sharp sword intent lingered around him, making people feel endless despair. It's the first time Wan Gongfeng and the others have seen such elusive movements. Su, Master Su. Wan Gongfeng squeezed out a smile with difficulty, cupped his hands slightly towards Su Chen, and said. Misunderstanding, Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. We broke into this place unintentionally, not because we wanted to be an enemy of Mr. Su, but because Mr. Su has a lot of people, so he can let me go. At this moment, Wang Gongfang has already greeted the servant who told him the news thousands of times in his heart. How could this be the strongest person who defeated the Qi realm 7th stage? This is clearly an instant kill. Defeat and instant kill, these are two different concepts. If he had known that Su Chen had such strength, he would not have dared to chase him down. Too strong. It's ridiculously strong. Is this really the combat power that a cultivator of the Qi realm 3rd stage can unleash? It seems that you are from the Lin family. Hearing Wang Gongfang's words, Su Chen turned around slowly, looked at him indifferently, and said, "Since you're here, let's stay." Boom. Accompanied by Su Chen's voice falling into the sky, a terrifying killing intent instantly swept out of his body. Go back. Wang Gongfang's complexion changed suddenly, and he let out a loud shout. Then he flew towards the crack without looking back. Do you think you can run? Seeing this scene, Su Chen sneered, took a step forward, and came to Wang Gongfang in an instant. This is the power of God walking just one step away from great completion. Then, with 5 fingers clenched tightly, he punched suddenly. Boom! Terrifying power erupted at this moment, crashing on Wang Gongfang's back. The heavy force hit Wang Gongfang's body like a mountain. Puff! Wang Gongfang suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. The huge impact made him fly upside down in an instant, and his vitality quickly dissipated at this moment. Su Chen stretched out his hand, and the long sword nailed to the tree flew towards him and fell into his hand. Then, he threw the long sword vigorously. Om! The void trembled. Pff'd. An arc-shaped spray of blood splashed out, and the long sword pierced through Yang Gongfang's body. If you don't run, you may still survive if you fight with me. It's a pity that you chose to run away, but you don't know that from the moment you choose to escape, you will no longer have any way to survive. Su Chen withdrew his long sword, glanced at the 3 of them lightly, and returned to the top of the mountain. The movement just now had already awakened Yi Rushui, who was practicing. At this moment, she was standing at the end of the white jade steps, looking forward to Su Chen's appearance. Thank you, Mr. Su, for saving my life again. Seeing Su Chen appearing, Yi Rushui hastily said. Hee, they can't hurt you with their strength. Su Chen chuckled, the corner of his eye fell on the place where Yi Rushui was practicing. The fight just now didn't shatter the simple formation she established, it still exists. Yi Rushui smiled nonchalantly when she heard the words. She turned her head to look at the great hall behind her, and then said with a smile. Congratulations, Mr. Su, cultivation base has gone a step further. It's been a lot of time here, so I'll take my leave first. Hearing this, Su Chen frowned slightly, stared at Yi Rushui, and said, Aren't you going back to Qingyang City? Yi Rushui shook her head with a light smile. I still have some things to deal with, so I won't be going back for now. Part of the reason why she came here this time was because of the Daoshuan gold core. The other part of the reason is to repay the kindness of Su Chen's Qi Dan. Now that the kindness has been repaid, she should continue to own the plan. Su Chen took a deep look at Yi Rushui, and said, then there will be a period later. He knew that the woman in front of him was not simple, and there was a big secret in her body. But since the other party didn't want to talk, he didn't bother to ask. After saying that, Su Chen turned and walked down the mountain. Tomorrow is the day of Tai Xuanzong's inner sect assessment, and he has to rush back. Yi Rushui, who was standing there, looked at Su Chen's back, bit her red lips, her pretty face was full of hesitation. The experiences of the past few days flashed through her mind one after another, and there seemed to be a voice in her heart that kept saying, let him be careful. In the end, Yi Rushui still couldn't hold back. Looking at Su Chen's receding back, she shouted. Young Master Su, you must be careful about Tai Xuanzong's inner sect assessment this time. Inner sect assessment. Su Chen paused, turned around, looked at Yi Rushui puzzled, and said. Miss Yi, why did you say that? The content of the inner sect exam is nothing more than letting many inner disciples enter the Taizan mountains to kill some demonic beasts. They are then ranked based on the number of demonic beasts hunted by each disciple. The top 3 will generally get some rare rewards of cultivation technique, medicine pill, divine armament. In the final analysis, it is just that the senior officials of Tai Xuanzong want to add some practical experience to the inner discipline. According to Su Chen's knowledge, the danger level of the inner sect assessment is very low, and there will be no danger of life at all. Why did Yi Rushui remind herself at this time? What exactly does she mean? Could there be an accident in the inner sect assessment this time? Various thoughts flashed through Su Chen's mind. I don't know the specifics. Yi Rushui shook her head lightly and said. In fact, she didn't hide it on purpose, she really didn't know. When the inner sect assessment of the Taizan sect in the previous life had an accident, she was only the cultivation base of the 9th stage of the qi gathering environment and had not risen. Moreover, Su Chen did not participate in that inner sect assessment. At this time in the previous life, Su Chen was only an outer sect disciple of Taizan sect, and was not eligible to participate in the inner sect assessment at all. But this life is different. Su Chen not only became the inner disciple of Taizan sect, but also had an extremely strong cultivation base. It is estimated that it only takes 1 day to return to Taizan sect from here. And Tai Xuanzong's inner sect assessment lasted for a total of 3 days. After Su Chen returns, he will definitely take the inner sect assessment. That's why she reminded Su Chen. Don't you know? When Su Chen heard this, a look of disappointment flashed in his eyes. He didn't continue to ask, cupped his hands slightly, and said. No matter what happens, I would like to thank Miss Yi for reminding me in advance. After thanking him, Su Chen turned and walked towards the crack. The moment he turned around, a smile appeared on the corner of Su Chen's mouth, and he whispered in his heart. Reborn. That night by the small lake of Yi's house, when Yi Rushui revealed her pill refining and formation, Su Chen had already had doubts. But at the time he wasn't sure. After all, this is the fantasy world, it's normal for Tianzhao and evildoers to be a little more. There may be very few people who can achieve success while multitasking, but they must exist. After coming to this secret realm, Yi Rushui's familiarity made Su Chen even more suspicious. Until just now, Yi Rushui reminded herself to be careful about this inner sect assessment. At this moment, Su Chen was finally sure that Yi Rushui must be a reborn person. Otherwise, how could she be so well informed? Although Tai Xuanzong's monthly inner sect assessment time is public, it is limited to the Tai Xuanzong inner discipline. However, the Yi family did not have any disciples in the inner sect of Tai Xuanzong. How did Yi Rushui get the news? The only thing that can be explained is that she must have been exposed to the same thing once. Outside the secret realm, Su Chen took out the long sword and stepped on it. After he stepped on the long sword instantly turned into a stream of light and quickly disappeared into the sky. A day later, Tai Xuanzong is close in sight and far away. Su Chen stood on the long sword, looking in the direction of Tai Xuanzong, but he kept thinking about what Yi Rushui said earlier in his mind. Is the inner sect assessment dangerous? What exactly is the danger? Yi Rushui didn't say anything, Su Chen could only guess by himself. The promised sect invaded. Su Chen thought about it carefully. The sect closest to Taizan sect is Wuji sect. The forces of the two parties are already in conflict. Wu Zhizong has been thinking about how to suppress Tai Xuanzong, intending to destroy it. However, the Great Chu dynasty has clear regulations that do not allow the major sects to fight each other. If Wu Zhizong really dared to kill Tai Xuanzong's inner disciple at will, the royal family of Great Chu might take the lead in attacking Wu Zhizong. If it wasn't the promised sect, would it be a beast tide? There are still many demonic beasts in the Taizan mountains. There aren't that many demonic beasts that could make a difference. After all, the Taizan mountains are the base camp of the Taizan sect, and the sect will not allow the existence of the demonic beasts who have a climate. Sect elder usually kills one at sight to avoid high-ranked demonic beasts from appearing. Having ruled out the promised sect and the beast tide one after another, Su Chen really couldn't think of any dangers that would arise. 100 miles away from Tai Xuanzong, Su Chen put away his long sword, and Yukong flew towards the mountain gate. Before they came to the mountain gate, several white figures with pale complexions and blood on their bodies, supporting each other caught Su Chen's attention instantly. The costumes on these people are obviously the costumes of the inner disciple of Tai Xuanzong. Behind them, there was another disciple who was in an even more miserable state, lying on a stretcher straight, his whole body was bandaged almost like a mummy. The two inner disciples walked towards the mountain gate. Something really happened. Su Chen looked at the scene in front of him, his heart sank suddenly, and he came to those inner disciples solemnly and said in a deep voice, "Brothers, what happened? Why did you make it like this?" Brother Su Chen. The moment he saw Su Chen, the disciple who was wrapped like a mummy shouted excitedly. Then, he stretched out a hand and grabbed Su Chen. "Junior brother, let's talk slowly about something, don't get excited." Su Chen was taken aback by this sudden scene, took 2 steps back calmly, took out a healing medicine pill from the storage ring, and said, "Junior brother is seriously injured. I happen to have a medicine pill here, so I will give it to you." Talking, Su Chen handed the medicine pill in his hand to an inner disciple who carried him. Brother Su Chen, it's me. I'm Duan Cheng." The disciple, who was wrapped up like a mummy, spoke excitedly, with tears in his eyes, choked up and said, "Woo woo woo. Brother Su Chen, you are really kind. If I were a woman, I would definitely promise her with my body." Well, Su Chen's complexion darkened, and he glanced at Duan Cheng with disgust. Then he looked at the other party carefully. No wonder the other party's voice sounded familiar just now. It turned out to be junior brother Duan Cheng, who participated in the outer sect trial in the same batch as him. Su Chen still has a little impression of him. He remembers that he seems to be the first disciple to take part in the trial, and he has high-quality aptitude. However, the other party was covered with gauze, which prevented Su Chen from recognizing him immediately. "So it's junior brother Duan. You can avoid such things as a promise of your body. If you have time, you should pay more attention to On's injury. Say it." Su Chen turned his head to look at the other inner disciples, and said in a deep voice, "Isn't today the day of the inner sect assessment? Why are you all injured like this?" To be honest, many inner disciples will be injured every time the inner sect assessment. There will even be 1 or 2 inner disciples with unlucky physiques who will be seriously injured. But like today, it is relatively rare for everyone to be injured. To know, there will be at least 1,000 participants in each inner sect assessment of Tai Xuanzong. Now, there are 7 or 8 disciples just in front of the mountain gate. And now it's only an hour or 2 before the start of the assessment. A bad premonition suddenly rose in Su Chen's heart. Shouldn't everyone else be dead? If this is the case, then what Yi Rushui told her not only came true. Moreover, the severity has even completely exceeded his imagination. "It's a dark creature," an inner disciple said solemnly. "Dark creature." Su Chen raised his brows and repeated in a low voice. He accidentally saw this race from an ancient book. Dark creatures come from outside the domain, that is, from outside this world. They are very powerful and extremely difficult to kill. 10,000 years ago, there was a massive invasion by dark creatures. In the end, it was jointly suppressed by the terrorist existence of countless big forces, and was driven out of this world. Unexpectedly, after 10,000 years, dark creatures appeared near Tai Xuanzong. "That's right, it's a dark creature." The inner disciple who spoke just now nodded solemnly, and said again, "On our way to the trial, a portal suddenly appeared, and countless dark creatures gushed out of it, which caught us off guard. Fortunately, Senior Brother Wang led the team this time and sent us out at a critical moment, which saved us from the disaster." Brother Wang. Su Chen revealed a look of nostalgia upon hearing this. But he had no impression of this person. If his guess is correct, Senior Brother Wang mentioned by the other party should be the leading disciple of this inner sect assessment. Should be a core disciple. This is Tai Xuanzong's rule for every inner sect assessment. The reason is not sect elder, but core discipline. The main reason is that the location of the inner sect assessment is in the Taizan Mountains, and the Taizan Mountains are right in front of the Taizan sect. It is equivalent to the assessment at the door of the house. There is really no need to dispatch an elder. After all, children can see it at the door of the house, so why let parents follow it every step of the way? What's more, the inner discipline is not a child at all. The inner sect assessment is mainly to exercise the actual combat ability of the inner discipline, and it is already very good to be able to dispatch a core discipline to follow. Brother Su Chen, we still have to notify the sect elder for rescue, so we won't stop here any longer. The inner disciple slightly cupped his hands and spoke quickly. At this moment, there are still many inner disciples in the Taizan mountain range being besieged by dark creatures. If one more second is wasted here, one inner disciple may die. They really dare not waste time here. When Su Chen heard this, his heart moved. He knows that his own opportunity has come. Isn't the current situation the best time to build trust? If Su Chen can grasp the opportunity in front of him, he will definitely get a big promotion. Brother, wait a moment. Su Chen shouted, and then took out a bottle of medicine pill from the storage ring. Junior brothers, I see that your injuries are all serious, so divide up these medicine pills. Everyone take it, everyone has a share. Su Chen delivered the medicine pills to several people one by one, and said while distributing the medicine pills. His actions instantly moved several people to tears. I'm waiting to thank Brother Su Chen. Several inner disciples thanked with tearful cupped hands. We are all brothers in the same sect, so you don't have to be so polite. Su Chen waved his hand very grandly, and asked again. Oh, by the way, where did you meet the dark creature? Just 500 miles to the west. One of the inner disciples raised his finger to correct the west and responded. Well, I see, you guys go and tell the elder to come and rescue. Su Chen nodded slightly, and then took a step forward. The long sword also emerged at this moment, stepped on by him, and quickly flew towards the due west. Brother Su Chen is really a role model for my generation. I didn't expect that there is such an existence as Senior Brother Su Chen in our Taizan sect. I swear, if anyone dares to oppose Senior Brother Su Chen in the future, he must pass me first. Not to mention the Taizan sect, even if you look at the entire eastern wasteland, it's hard to find someone like Senior Brother Su Chen. Compared to Senior Brother Su Chen, I'm just a speck of dust. Several Taizan sect disciples looked at Su Chen's leaving back, filled with emotion. A brother who had never met gave each of them a medicine pill when he saw them for the first time. Then, after hearing the direction of the dark creature, he rushed over in awe-inspiring manner. This pattern of knowing that there are tigers in the mountains and preferring to travel on the mountains, they can't do it if they ask themselves. You know, that is a dark creature. In the same rank, the human race is not an opponent at all. Even if it is a big realm ahead of the opponent, it can only be defeated, not completely killed. But Senior Brother Su Chen knew this, so he went there resolutely. Let's go and inform the elder, don't let Senior Brother Su Chen fight alone. Duan Cheng struggled to get up, waved his bandaged hand, and said quickly. The other disciples may not know Su Chen's strength, but he is clear. A few days ago, Su Chen's performance in the outer sect trial is still vivid. Taizan Mountains. This is a huge mountain range that stretches for thousands of miles. There are towering mountains and a myriad of phenomena, among which are countless demonic beasts dormant. Due to being too close to the Taizan sect, some powerful demonic beasts in this mountain range have long been killed by the Taizan sect elder. Most of them are Qi Gathering Realm, or demonic beasts of Qi Si Realm. Occasionally there will be a few demonic beasts at the altar level, but the number is extremely rare and generally rarely appear. Every time demonic beasts in the altar state appeared, they would be beheaded by Tai Xuanzong elder almost immediately. It is precisely because there are no too powerful demonic beasts that the Taizan mountain range has always been a dedicated place for the inner sect assessment. Thousands of inner disciples will enter almost every inner sect assessment. Even if you don't get a good ranking, you can kill a few demonic beasts. And for each demonic beasts, as long as they can be brought back to Taizan sect, they can be exchanged for a lot of sect contribution value or spirit stones. But what surprised everyone this year was that on their way to the assessment site, a black magic circle suddenly appeared, rising from all directions. Before they heard the Sanskrit sound, the whole world suddenly became dark, with dark clouds billowing, shrouding the heavens covering the sun. Accompanied by the sound of howling ghosts and howling wolves, it makes people's scalp numb. Not long after, under the watchful eyes of thousands of inner disciples, a crack appeared in the sky. A crack hundreds of meters long appeared above the sky, exhaling a cold, brutal, bloodthirsty aura. After that, tens of thousands of dark creatures rushed out of the crack. These dark creatures have various appearances and are huge in number, quickly occupying the surrounding land. Looking around, there are dark creatures everywhere. Seeing this scene, every inner disciple felt like falling into an ice cave, trembling all over. At this moment, many people understand in their hearts that the situation has completely reversed. They went from hunters to prey. Be the prey of these dark creatures. ... Clang. In the dark fog all over the sky, there was a sound of the clanging of golden arms. Immediately afterwards, a figure flew out backwards and hit a big tree. Due to the excessive force of the impact, the whole tree was hit and trembled. Countless leaves fluttered down from the trees. Puff. Lu Jian knelt on the ground, his face extremely pale. He stood on the ground with his sword, opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of blood, staining the ground red. Am I going to fall here today? Lu Jian raised his head, looking at the countless dark creatures in front of him, as well as the disciples of Taizan sect who kept falling, with endless unwillingness on his face. Not long ago, he just passed the outer sect trial and became an inner disciple. I heard that Su Chen, the monster who ranked first in the outer sect trial, did not appear in the team for the inner sect test. Lu Jian knew that his own opportunity had come. He originally thought that he would be able to shine in this inner sect assessment, and he could have his own place in the inner sect. Unexpectedly, the first time I participated in the inner sect assessment, I encountered the invasion of dark creatures. It took less than half a day from the arrival of the dark creatures to the present. Originally more than 1,000 inner disciples have been completely damaged. Most of them were taken away by dark creatures, and only a small part remained in a group, looking for a way out within this less than 100 miles away. Just now, there were several senior brothers and sisters beside him. But just after meeting a dark creature team, several of them also completely separated. At the moment, it is impossible for him alone to break out of this magic circle. Not to mention, there is a powerful dark creature blocking the way in front of him. The taste of human beings is really wonderful. A cold murmur sounded. Not far away, a tall, 1-foot-high dark creature covered in a black robe strode forward. He held a man in a white robe in his hand. After arriving in front of Lu Jian, he threw it on the ground with a bang. After seeing the figure in white robe who was thrown on the ground, Lu Jian's pupils shrank suddenly. That's senior brother Zhou. Brother Zhou's strength has already reached Qi realm 6th stage. In this inner sect assessment, it can be regarded as the strength of the middle and upper reaches, and it is a popular candidate for the top 10. But even such a powerful senior brother is also hated at this moment. Don't make unnecessary struggles, I won't kill you. The dark creature under the black robe stuck out its scarlet and slender tongue, licked its lips, and walked towards Lu Jian step by step, saying as it walked. Other dark creatures like to regard humans as food, and like to eat them steamed, boiled, fried. But I'm different, I prefer. Eat raw. But I'm different, I prefer to eat raw. When he heard the first half, Lu Jian thought he had a chance. But after hearing the last sentence, his whole heart was in his throat. No wonder senior brother Zhou fell into the hands of this dark creature, yet his body was still intact. It turns out that this dark creature doesn't eat corpses. Die. Lu Jian did not sit still, but chose to take the lead. The strength of his Qi realm 1st stage broke out in an all-round way, and the long sword in his hand swept out like a bolt of lightning. This sword is fast to the extreme one. In the blink of an eye, it was already in front of the dark creature. Clang! There was a sound of Jin Jie chirping. A burst of sparks flashed, and the long sword was firmly grasped by a big black hand. This palm only has 3 fingers, but it is like cast iron, extremely strong. Lu Jian's sword seemed to be extremely powerful, but there were no waves in front of this palm. He was holding the long sword, and there was no wound on his palm. Hee, is this a human cultivator? How weak. The dark creature in black sneered. Immediately afterwards, he squeezed slightly with 3 fingers. Clang. A crisp sound sounded. The long sword in his hand was instantly crushed. Then, without any warning, a punch blasted out. Boom. The void exploded. The surrounding void seemed to be shattered under this punch, setting off a black storm and sweeping towards all directions. Boom. Lu Jian's body flew upside down again. Like a kite with a broken string, he flew upside down for hundreds of meters before barely stopping. The punch just now almost shattered all the bones in his body. Even with the cultivation base of the Qi realm 1st stage, it is completely powerless to stand up at this moment. The heavy injury made him feel that his own vitality was rapidly dissipating. Is Lu Jian going to die here? Looking at the dark creatures gradually approaching him, Lu Jian's heart was full of despair. He could only watch helplessly as the dark creature approached him, and then stretched out his big black hand to grab him. And he couldn't do anything by himself. The scarlet and slender tongue of the dark creature dripped a foul-smelling black liquid. The moment it opened its bloody mouth and was about to gnaw at Lu Jian, a sudden change occurred. Call out. There was a sound of breaking through the air. Immediately afterwards, a long sword shining with cold light swept over with the power of the golden star. Like a meteor falling from the sky. Bang, bang, bang. Wherever the golden glow passed, large stretches of towering giant trees were turned into dust. The terrifying sword intent strangles everything around. The dark creature noticed the abnormality, threw Lu Jian on the ground, and turned around suddenly. But before it could do anything, its huge body was directly pierced by a long sword. There was a transparent hole on the right chest, and black blood flowed from the hole. Who are you? Even if the heart is pierced, the body of the dark creature still stands. It turned around slowly, looked into the depths of the black mist, and asked in a hoarse voice. Tai Xuanzong, Su Chen. The cold voice came from the black mist. Immediately afterwards, a figure in a white robe appeared in front of it. Master Su Chen. When Lu Jian saw the visitor, a look of complexity flashed in his eyes. He will never forget Su Chen's performance in the outer sect trial, nor what Su Chen's supporters said. Unexpectedly, it was Su Chen who saved his life this time. Be careful, dark creatures are hard to kill. Lu Jian struggled to get up from the ground, looked at Su Chen and said. He. The dark creature in black robe let out a hoarse laugh. Endless black mist evaporated from its body, and at this moment the whole person was like a demon god from the Nine Nether. The boundless black mist enveloped it, and the wound on the right chest was also wriggling rapidly. It returned to normal in the blink of an eye, and from the surface, there was no trace of injury at all. He's right, we can't be killed. Oh, really? Why am I a little unbelievable? Su Chen frowned, staring at the dark creature with a smile. At the next moment, with a slight flick of his wrist, the long sword that had just flown out turned back and landed in his palm again. Then I want to see if you are really hard to kill today. The voice fell. The long sword in Su Chen's hand swept out. The terrifying starlight shattered the boundless black mist. The sword gang swept across, killing the dark creatures with unparalleled terrifying power. Hee. The dark creature grinned grimly. Facing Su Chen's strike, it didn't dodge anything, stretched out its big black hand, and grabbed the long sword. Clang. The black palm grabbed the long sword. Is that all? The scarlet eyes of the dark creature stared at Su Chen, with a strange smile on his mouth. But in the next second, its expression suddenly changed. A terrifying force erupted, causing its 1-foot-tall body to completely sink into the ground. Break. The dark creature narrowed its eyes and let out a loud shout. Then, it stretched out its other big hand, using both hands together, grabbed the long sword, and turned the sword gang into an energy storm, sweeping in all directions. Seeing this, Su Chen frowned slightly. Back then when he was in the Qi realm 3rd stage, when he swung his sword out, none of the 3 priests of the Lin family could resist it. Now, the same realm, the same great completion broken star sword art, encountered the same dark creature of Qi realm 7th stage, and was able to block his sword. No wonder dark creatures claim to be invincible at the same rank. In addition to being physically strong, these dark creatures also have a recovery speed that is comparable to abnormality. In this regard, even Su Chen is ashamed of himself. The taste of human Tianzhao's blood is the best. Be my food obediently. The dark creature in black robe jumped out of the ground, and it licked its lips lightly with its scarlet and slender tongue. The scarlet eyes shone with a fierce light, and they rushed towards Su Chen quickly. Then let's see who is the real same rank invincible. Red flame flowing light slash. Su Chen let out a loud shout. He is simple and direct, the long sword shines, and sweeps out violently. Martial skill, a mid-level earth-level skill, was launched by Kai Yan Luguang slash, and the sword was swept out with great force. This is the first time he has performed Kai Yan Luguang slash. He is full of expectations for the power of this earth-level mid-tier martial skill. Although it's only just initiated, the power it explodes is unmatched even by the great completion level broken star sword art. This is the horror of the mid-level martial skill. Boom! There was a deafening roar. Every time there is a collision, the body of the dark creature will tremble, as if all the bones in his body are shattered at this moment. Earth-level middle-grade martial skill, Qian Meteor Slash. He actually managed to cultivate this martial skill. Lu Jian looked at Su Chen, who was fighting in the distance, and a look of shock flashed in his eyes. Earth-level martial skill is extremely difficult to cultivate, and it will take a long time for even a strong person at the divine stage to initiate. And Su Chen, a Qi Si realm cultivator, has cultivated the Earth-level martial skill. Sa talent, unheard of awe. It turns out that he is really a man of great luck. What Cao Yun said on the day of the outer sect trial rang in Lu Jian's mind. And only the evildoers with great luck and body can successfully cultivate the Earth-level martial skill in the Qi Si realm. Great luck plus body, 3,450/1W. Su Chen, who was fighting, suddenly jumped out of the virtual panel. Looking at the virtual panel in front of him, Su Chen was taken aback. But he quickly reacted. It seems that Lu Jian already considers himself a man of great luck from the bottom of his heart. Then, with a thought, he closed the virtual panel. Crack. At the same time, a crisp voice sounded. The 6 fingers of the dark creature were shattered and fell off. It let out a miserable cry, and black blood dripped from the broken parts of its 6 fingers. Although their injuries can heal quickly, the pain is real. What a strong human being. The dark creature looked at Su Chen in front of him and gasped. Black flames appeared, lingering around its body. While the black flames were blazing, the injuries on its body were also recovering rapidly. But along with it, the aura also declined a lot. It seems that there is no price for you to recover from your injuries. In this way, dark creatures are not immortal. Su Chen is like a god of war, standing in the void, with a golden light blooming all over his body, and his jet black hair is also covered with a layer of golden brilliance at this moment. Heavenly Devil Incarnation. Hearing this, the dark creature's eyes flickered fiercely, and with a loud roar, it began to perform secret techniques. It knows that if it continues to fight, it may be completely exhausted. Once the source is exhausted, there is only one way to die. It's better to fight now. Once the opponent is beheaded, the blood essence in his body alone is enough to restore his own injuries. Crackling. The bone ring of the dark creature began to dislocate, crackling non-stop. A creepy aura permeated the air. The originally 1-foot-high body shrank to 5 feet in the blink of an eye. Swish. The dark creature rushed towards Su Chen quickly. The monstrous killing intent permeated the air. The black mist rushed straight into the sky, and its body had become disfigured at this moment. But its aura is extremely powerful, even stronger than before. The incarnation of Heavenly Devil doubled its body size and almost doubled its strength. Careful. Lu Jian endured the excruciating pain, and reminded him. Boom. Su Chen was surrounded by a golden aura. Broken Star Sword Art. There was a loud drink. The long sword in Su Chen's hand swept out again. The terrifying sword glow tore through the earth and shook the sky. This. Return to origin level Broken Star Sword Art. This is definitely return to origin level Broken Star Sword Art. Lu Jian looked at Su Chen's terrifying sword, his eyes were full of horror, and he muttered in a low voice. Broken Star Sword Art returned to origin, 1/180th. Su Chen, who had just slashed a sword, the virtual panel jumped out of his eyes again. It seems that this time is the right time. Su Chen looked at the virtual panel in front of him and murmured something. At this moment, Lu Jian seems to have full trust in him. Bang bang bang. After more than a dozen consecutive impacts, Su Chen stood still on the spot, as steady as Mount Tai, standing on the sky. But the dark creature was sent flying. The moment it flew upside down, the long sword in Su Chen's hand suddenly burst into fiery red light, making it impossible to look directly at. The majestic and sacred breath runs through the sky. Red flame meteor slash. Su Chen shouted violently, and the long sword pierced through the chest of the dark creature again, just like this, nailing it in the void, forming a scene that made people's minds shake. Boom. Su Chen lightly tapped his palm, and the long sword hummed again. Terrifying power erupted from the blade, and instantly shattered the dark creature's body into pieces. There was only one round head, rolling to the ground with a grunt. The dark creature tried to open its mouth, but before it could make any sound, its eyes quickly dimmed. You have been able to fight against me for so long, you are still the first person. Su Chen looked at the dark creature's head and shook his head slightly, falling from the void. Then he came to Lu Jian and said, Brother Lu Jian, we meet again. Master Su. Hiss. Seeing Su Chen coming, Lu Jian opened his mouth quickly. But because he was too excited, he pulled the wound all of a sudden, making him gasp involuntarily. Brother, don't move for now, I have a medicine pill for healing, you take it first. Su Chen flipped his palm, and a healing medicine pill appeared in his palm. He handed the medicine pill to Lu Jian. Lu Jian endured the pain, took the medicine pill, and swallowed it. The moment the medicine pill entered his stomach, the strong medicinal power spread into his limbs. The original broken bones are also recovering rapidly. Lu Jian felt the majestic medicinal power in his body repairing his own body, showing gratitude, and said, Thank you, Junior Brother Su, for saving your life. We are all fellow apprentices, so you're welcome. Su Chen waved his hand indifferently. The value of Lu Jian's bragging about his broken star sword art return to origin alone surpassed this medicine pill. By the way, senior brother, do you know the current situation of the others? Hearing this, Lu Jian's complexion was a bit gloomy, and he said in a deep voice, Most of the brothers and sisters have probably been captured by dark creatures. There is still a small part that has been reduced to the food of these dark creatures. Speaking of which, Lu Jian glanced at senior brother Zhou not far away. This senior brother Zhou was lucky, and met a rather strange dark creature. Otherwise, it would be impossible to keep the whole body now. Where are they all taken? Su Chen asked. It seems to be over there. Lu Jian raised his hand with difficulty and pointed Su Chen in the direction. In this black formation, the sky is full of black fog. Su Chen was completely lost from the moment he entered. Fortunately, this is just a trap. You can go in, but not out. If this is a killing formation, I am afraid that all the inner disciplines of Tai Xuanzong have already died. Su Chen glanced in the direction Lu Jian pointed, and after secretly noting the square, asked again. By the way, senior brother Lu Jian, do you know the strength of the strongest of these dark creatures? Also, how many are the strongest dark creatures? In Su Chen's mind, a plan to save lives had already arisen. After all, at this moment, every one of the disciples of Tai Zan sect is wounded, this is the best time to build trust. But he didn't want to court death. The strength of the dark creature just now is considered very strong. If there are many existences stronger than it in the formation, then it is not something he, a cultivator of the Qi Si realm 3rd stage, can provoke. It's better to wait here with Lu Jian for the sect elder to come to the rescue. It is only 500 miles away from Tai Xuanzong, and it only takes half an hour for them to arrive. Lu Jian heard this, recalled it carefully, and then said. The one that junior brother killed just now is one of the strongest of these dark creatures. Besides it, there should be 2 other ones that are as powerful as it. When this formation was first covered, the 3 of them besieged senior brother Wang together. Due to their special nature, they recovered very quickly from their injuries. Even senior brother Wang couldn't do anything about it for a while. Later, the dark creature you beheaded suddenly appeared and started chasing us. I guess senior brother Wang. Having said that, Lu Jian did not continue. But the latter matter, Su Chen also guessed about the same. Senior brother Wang, the leader of the team, if there is no accident, I'm afraid it will be more than auspicious. But the problem is, every one of Tai Xuanzong's core disciples is a strong person in the altar realm. Logically speaking, even if a dark creature has a near immortal body, but there is such a gap in strength, it is impossible to hurt that senior brother Wang. Could it be? Su Chen suddenly thought of a certain possibility. These 3 dark creatures may also have some kind of whole card. Thinking of this, Su Chen was slightly relieved. As for the cards with no cards, it doesn't matter. These days, who doesn't have a whole card? If the opponent uses his whole cards, then I will use my whole cards too. However, in Su Chen's opinion, there is a high probability that the opponent's whole card is a one-off. Otherwise, why didn't the dark creature just now use it? Senior brother Lu Jian, I have almost killed all the dark creatures around here, and there should be no other dark creatures coming over in a while. You stay here for the time being, don't wander around, and I think the sect elder will arrive soon. Su Chen looked at Lu Jian and warned him. Is junior brother going to save other people? Hearing this, Lu Jian looked at Su Chen with a serious expression. Su Chen nodded slightly. Brother, be careful. Lu Jian said solemnly. He didn't force Su Chen to stay, nor did he follow. Lu Jian understood that even if his current state followed the past, it would only add trouble to Su Chen. After watching Su Chen leave, Lu Jian forced himself to stand up, came behind a big tree, restrained his breath, and hid. At the same time, on a mountain peak more than 10 miles away. The black mist billowed here, the devilish qi was extremely thick, and the dark red blood flowed on the ground, drawing a strange pattern. A pool of blood was slowly rotating, and a column of blood shot up into the sky, sinking into the space crack above the sky. The blood column seems to be a link. One end is connected to the mountain peak, and the other end is connected to an unknown and terrifying place. As time passed, the crack in the sky gradually leaked a terrifying aura. The evilness in the breath makes people shudder. Master, what are they doing? Standing behind a big tree not far away, Mu Qingshe restrained the breath of her whole body to the extreme, and her whole body merged into the darkness, except for a pair of eyes exposed outside. 3 days ago, her 3000 Palace Ju accidentally initiated by chance and coincidence. She originally wanted to use this intersect assessment to test her own strength. Unexpectedly, after arriving at the Taizan Mountains, before he could do anything, he encountered such a thing as the arrival of dark creatures. Fortunately, she refined the phantom moon to the great completion, fast enough, and hid it in advance, so that she was not caught by those dark creatures. But other people didn't have such good luck, and many disciples were suppressed and killed on the spot. Most of the remaining people were captured and tied to a black pillar like livestock. Mu Qingshui's position happened to be able to clearly see every arrested Taizan sect disciple. 2 dark creatures at the edge of the formation can also be seen. The 2 dark creatures were also dressed in black robes, but they were chanting words, and they kept making mysterious symbols with their hands, sinking into the pool of blood. Every time they play a symbol, the red luster in the blood pool will become stronger. The aura emanating from that crack in the sky will also be even more terrifying. It seems that in the near future, a supreme being will come across the boundary. If the teacher reads correctly, they should be shaking people. In Mu Qingshui's mind, that old voice spoke in an extremely dignified tone. Shaking people. Mu Qingshui was startled when she heard that. It was the first time she heard this word from Master. That's right, there was a touch of dignity in the old voice, and he continued to speak. If the teacher guessed correctly, these 2 dark creatures should use these disciples as sacrifices, and use their blood to summon a terrifying dark creature to cross the boundary. A flash of shock flashed in Mu Qingshui's beautiful eyes. These dark creatures alone were scary enough for her. God knows what powerful existence the other party will summon. If these 2 dark creatures are allowed to succeed, the entire Taizan sect will suffer catastrophe. Master, is there a way to stop them? Mu Qingshui pondered for a moment, then asked in her mind. In fact, she is not a cold-blooded and heartless person. It's just that the reason for practicing the 3000 Qing Palace Ju makes her look a bit cold. If she was really a cold-blooded and heartless person, she would have left alone. After all, there is also a terrifying master in her mind. This formation of black mist can trap the inner disciples of Tai Xuanzong, but it can't trap Mu Qingshui's master. There are many ways, but none of them are what you can do now. Although your 3000 Palace Ju has been initiated, your physique has not been fully awakened, and your strength is too weak. The old voice said indifferently. Constitution. When Mu Qingshui heard this, a look of disappointment flashed in her beautiful eyes. Her 3000 Qing Palace Ju has been initiated. As long as there is no major mood swing, it will have no effect on her. Do you know the importance of physical fitness? Mu Qingshui's master seemed to see through her inner thoughts, and said quietly. This place is not far from Taizan sect. It is estimated that in a while, the elders of Taizan sect will arrive. With them here, these 2 dark creatures can't make any waves at all, but you, remember to pay attention to your own state of mind. But, Mu Qingshui pursed her lips and looked at the mountain not far away. There are one after another corpses placed there, and there are 300 or 400 corpses in sight. These are all Tai Xuanzong inner disciplines. A quarter of an hour ago, they were still alive. But a quarter of an hour later, they turned into cold corpses. To know the sum of all the inner disciplines in the inner sect assessment this time is no more than 1,000 people. Nearly half of the corpses were placed here alone, plus some disciples who died in other places. It is conservatively estimated that more than half of the inner sect assessments have already been killed or injured. Seeing all this helplessly, even Mu Qingshe, who practiced the 3000 Qing Palace art, had the thought of rushing out to save others countless times in her heart. But they were all stopped by her master. She is no more than Qi Si Realm first stage now. Even though she has multiple martial skills and strong combat power, it doesn't have any substantial help for the overall situation. You are practicing the 3000 Palace Ju, you have to get used to it slowly, you have to make your mind as calm as water, not. The old female voice was about to persuade Mu Qingshe. But the story is not over yet. On the mountain peak, a dark creature suddenly stopped what it was doing. It also turned around coldly, looking at the remaining 400 Tai Xuanzong inner disciples not far away. Zhang, a long knife appeared in its palm, and it raised the knife with a wave. A jet-black knife light that was tens of feet long shot out instantly. Pooh! Dozens of inner disciples were decapitated like weeds. Bright red blood gushed out like a water column, instantly staining the ground beneath his feet. More than a dozen headless corpses stood upright on the black stone pillar, completely losing their breath of life. The blood flowed and gathered into a stream that slowly flowed into the pool of blood not far away. With the addition of fresh blood, the brilliance in the blood pool is also more prosperous. Bastard, you have the guts to fight me upright. Beasts, kill me Tai Zan sect disciples, one day I will wipe you all out. Let us go if you have the ability. Quote. Seeing this scene, many other Tai Zan sect disciples roared angrily with bloodshot eyes. At this moment, they really want to rush over and fight each other to the death. It's a pity that they were all tied to this weird black stone pillar, and they couldn't break free at all. He could only watch helplessly one after another of fellow disciples died in front of own eyes. There are also some disciples who are ashamed and almost completely desperate. The killing speed of these dark creatures is too fast. Dozens or even more than 100 inner disciples will lose their lives every time they make a shot. Going on at this speed, I'm afraid that by the time Tai Xuanzong Elder arrives, they will already be completely dead. Don't worry, it will be here with you soon. Jia, you should feel honored to be the sacrifice of Lord Demon God. The dark creature holding the long knife suddenly grinned and let out a strange smile. His eyes swept across every disciple, making one's hair stand on end. It was as if he was being targeted by a terrifying existence. Damn it! Not far away, Mu Qingshe, who was hiding behind a big tree, witnessed the fall of dozens of fellow apprentices at this moment. For the first time, she, who had always had a heart like still water, had the intention to kill. Wisps of substantive killing intent lingered around her. If she was strong enough, she would have killed these two dark creatures by now. Don't disturb your mind, your 3000 Qing Palace Ju has just been initiated, so don't waste your power because of these things. Quickly restrain the killing intent. In Mu Qingshui's mind, there was a little anxiety in her master's tone. Only she knows how difficult it is to practice the 3000 Qing Palace Ju. If Mu Qingshe broke her merits because of this, it might affect her whole life. Her voice just fell. The dark creature who just started seemed to be aware of it. It suddenly turned its head and looked towards Mu Qingshui's hiding place. Jia. It turns out there is another fish that slipped through the net. It let out a ferocious and strange smile, and slowly walked towards Mu Qingshui's hiding place. With every step, a great distance is covered. Not good. An exclamation came from Mu Qingshui's mind, and the old female voice shouted loudly. Disciple, run! Mu Qingshe didn't dare to hesitate when she heard the words. She quickly stood up, cast the phantom under the moon and ran towards the distance. At this moment, she is using phantom moon to the extreme, at a very fast speed. But compared to that dark creature, it seemed a little slow. In a blink, I saw that dark creature had already appeared behind Mu Qingshe, slowly raised a hand, and slapped Mu Qingshe on the back suddenly. This is a dark creature of the Qi Si realm 9th stage. If such a terrifying palm fell on Mu Qingshe, she would have no chance of surviving. Far away, the many inner disciples who were tied to the black stone pillar couldn't help but close their eyes, unable to bear to see the next cruel scene. Disciple, this time I can only let the teacher take action. I will borrow your body to take you out of here, but for a long time to come, I will fall into a deep sleep, and the next road may depend on you alone. Remember, you must practice hard after escaping this time, and strive to awaken your physique before awakening as a teacher. The old female voice was full of solemnity. Faced with such a crisis, she had no choice but to take Mu Qingshe to escape. Master, I'm sorry, I dragged you down. Hearing this, Mu Qingshe said in her heart with guilt. Because of On's impulsiveness, the master and himself fell into danger. Silly girl, it's okay, remember not to be affected by these things in the future. In the future when things happen, remember to recite the 3000 Palace Ju silently in your heart. As long as you can maintain your state of mind, practice the 3000 Palace Ju carefully, awaken your physique, and become a teacher. The old female voice spoke again, ready to comfort Mu Qingshe. But she hadn't finished speaking yet. I see. A figure bathed in golden light instantly came to Mu Qingshe. He was heavy and calm, and with the same palm, he met the palm of the dark creature, as if he was holding up a piece of heaven and earth. A heavy and majestic aura rose from his body, as if it could overwhelm everything in the world. Boom! A loud noise spread across the entire mountain. The two palms collided with each other loudly, making a sound like Hong Zhang Dalu. The terrifying aftermath centered on the two of them, spreading wildly in all directions. Dang dang dang. After a palm strike, the dark creature flew upside down in an instant. But Su Chen remained motionless, standing where he was. His eyes were sharp, his whole body was radiant, and his robes fluttered, like an invincible god of war, standing quietly in place. He is a member of Taizan sect. Could it be that the elder has arrived? Great, we are finally saved. In front of our Taizan sect elder, these dark creatures are just like cats and dogs, and they can be destroyed at will. It's not right. It's very wrong. Take a closer look, the clothes on him seem to be inner disciple. Hey, it seems to be really an inner discipline. Quote. Many inner disciples of the Taizan sect who were lucky enough to be alive opened their eyes and looked in Mu Qingshui's direction after hearing what had happened in the arena, with joy on their faces. After walking through the gate of hell, no one can understand their mood at this moment. Just when everyone felt that they had survived a desperate situation and were finally saved, the words of the two inner disciples revealed the crux of the problem. Inner discipline. When everyone heard the words, they all looked over. When they saw the robes Su Chen was wearing, their original excitement was instantly shattered, and they felt chills all over. Even if a core disciple appears at this moment, they may have a chance of survival. But inner discipline. They know the strength of Tai Xuanzong's inner discipline best. Because everyone present is the inner disciple of Tai Xuanzong. And the strongest inner disciple is no more than Qi Si Realm 9th stage. At this moment, there are two Qi Si Realm 9th stages in the inner discipline tied to the strange black stone pillar. In the past, their strength is the most top existence among many inner disciplines, very terrifying. But now, haven't you been caught by these dark creatures? When the dark creatures just came, two inner disciples from the Qi Si Realm 9th stage, plus a core disciple from the altar stage teamed up to deal with these dark creatures. But still no match for these dark creatures. A core disciple of the altar realm died, and two inner disciples of the Qi Si Realm 9th stage were captured. At the moment, only one inner disciple came. Even if he has the means to reach the sky, he will never be the opponent of these two dark creatures. Maybe there is no need for two dark creatures to fight together, he can't beat it with just one. Rushing over at this moment is nothing more than sending one more head. It is no different from sending to death. Junior brother, you run. You can't be their match, run and wait for the elder to rescue. On the strange black stone pillar as dark as ink, an inner disciple shouted loudly. They have already been arrested, and they really can't bear to see another fellow student suffer the same fate as them. Jia, run, do you think he can run? A strange laugh came from the other side of the mountain. At this time, another dark creature also noticed something was wrong. It stood up, took a step forward, and came behind Su Chen in an instant. The two dark creatures attacked back and forth, instantly blocking all of Su Chen's escape routes. Who are you, Su Chen? Not far away, Mu Qingshe stopped and looked at the familiar figure in front of her, her eyebrows slightly frowned. Do not know why, she always felt that this figure was very familiar. No, to be precise, the irresistible charm emanating from him is very familiar. After careful consideration, her delicate body shook suddenly. Isn't this the super evildoer who showed super talent in the outer sect trial and stepped into the taboo realm in Qi-gathering realm, Su Chen? Stand back to the side, next, leave it to me. A faint voice came out. Mu Qingshui's delicate body trembled again. Su Chen's voice is very soft, but it makes people feel extremely at ease. Careful, Mu Qingshe took a deep breath, and silently recited the 3000 Qing Palace Ju in her heart, suppressing the fluctuations in her heart. Then, he bowed deeply towards Su Chen's back, and stepped aside. And those two dark creatures just watched Mu Qingshe leave the battlefield without stopping. In their eyes, Su Chen is the real big fish. As for Mu Qingshe, after killing Su Chen, he will naturally have time to deal with her slowly. Mu Qingshe, who retreated to the side, looked at Su Chen's back in the field, and while silently reciting the 3000 Palace Ju in her heart, she asked, Master, can you see his current strength? Do you think he is sure to defeat these two dark creatures? Su Chen's aura is extremely strong, even Mu Qingshe can't see through his specific body cultivator at this moment. The old female voice in Mu Qingshui's mind was silent for a moment after hearing the words, and said, Unexpectedly, I lost my sight again. Her tone was full of emotion. Mu Qingshe. This is the fourth time she has heard Master's evaluation of Su Chen change. As expected of a superb talent, his cultivation base has already broken through Qi realm 3rd stage. I'm afraid that even if your physique is fully awakened, you won't be able to catch up with him. Master, you just said. Mu Qingshe frowned slightly, and asked with some uncertainty, Su Chen, has he already broken through to the Qi realm 3rd stage? That's right, the old female voice replied. Mu Qingshe froze in place for an instant. How long has it been since the outer sect trial? But 15 days. 15 days, from Qi realm 1st stage breakthrough to Qi realm 3rd stage. How could there be such an exaggerated advance grade speed? At this moment, Mu Qingshe has completely forgotten to silently recite the 3000 palace formulas in her heart. At this moment, she really wanted to rush to Su Chen and ask, how did he cultivate? Is this the horror of the superb talent? I have the teachings of my master, and I can't compare with the top-notch cultivation technique and physique of the monster of the top-notch talent. Calm your mind. At this moment, that old female voice sounded in her mind, pulling Mu Qingshe out of the shock. Hearing this, Mu Qingshe took a deep breath, and hurriedly continued to recite the 3000 Palace Ju silently in her heart, suppressing the shock in her heart. Then, Master thinks it is possible for him to defeat those two dark creatures. Hard to say. Seeing that Mu Qingshui's mood returned to calm, the old female voice pondered for a moment and then said slowly. Now he can't even see clearly as a teacher. However, since he dares to stand up, he must have the confidence to win. Even if he is not the opponent of the two dark creatures, it should be no problem to hold on to the elder of the Taizan sect. 2 full hours have passed since Hena's creature descended to the present. Previously, the core disciple led by Tai Xuanzong tried his best to send out several inner disciples at the last moment. Counting the time, they should also be in Tai Xuanzong. Perhaps in the near future, the inner sect elders of the Taizan sect will descend in person. That's good. Mu Qingshe returned to her coolness, her lavender eyes retracted from Su Chen's body. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.